Hi, lights, camera, action. I am excited to do this live stream, and I'm going to tell you a story about how I healed my self doubt. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that I healed it all at once and that I never have self doubt ever again. That's not kind of in the realm of realistic. But I will tell you that I had a major turning point, and it involved about 25 years ago. And I had been giving a house concert. And at the time, my concerts consisted of me doing fun, original songs, sing alongs, humor stuff. But then it would get a little more serious after halftime, after the intermission. And I would invite people to share topics that concerned them, challenges that they had, things they wanted healing about. And then I would invite them to get into the center of a circle, and I would channel improvisation, but more like a spiritual improvisation, the perfect words and music to help them heal, to uplift their spirit, to make them feel seen, known, loved, and cared for by the universe. So one young woman, I think she was about 20, said it was her birthday that day, and she asked for a birthday blessing. So she got into the center of the circle. People placed their hands on her with love and respect. And I channeled a song with her name in it and just things that were coming through me about her unique journey in life and how the universe celebrates her as a soul. And she started to cry. This is not unusual when I do this kind of singing. So I just kept going and she kept crying. She also had a smile on her face and at times would switch from tears to laughter. So I had absolute trust that everything was going just fine. And when I felt it was time to stop, we stopped. But I noticed out of the corner of my eye, one of the participants had gotten up and found some sage and started lighting the incense all over the room. And I just took note that she seemed quite agitated. It wasn't my business and it didn't bother me. However, the next morning I got a call from the sage lighting woman, and she was ripping into me, loud voice, and she was saying, "You had no right to do that kind of healing work." This woman was obviously reliving a sexual abuse trauma, and you let it go on and on. You're not equipped to do healing work. You have no credentials. You're a charlatan. And while she was saying all this, my body tensed up. I stopped breathing. And all my self-doubt came to the surface. Meanwhile, I had a friend who I had put the message on speakerphone, and he was listening, and he was whispering as passionately as possible in my ear, "It's not about you, Scott. Don't take this personal. This is her stuff. She's the only one in trauma. She's reliving trauma. This had nothing to do with that woman and the experience she had last night." So I was listening to this voice telling me how wrong and bad I was, and I was listening to my friend speak words of truth. Now, intellectually, I believed him. I understood, but emotionally, I felt terrible. In fact, it was weeks upon weeks that I had doubt about whether or not I should continue my healing work. And one day, this was before email, I took a number of fan letters, appreciation letters, and I put them on the floor. And I looked at them. There was like over 100 of them. And there was one letter that I had written myself from her. In other words, I imagined what she would have wrote in the letter. And I put it down and I looked at all the other letters, and I was trying to convince myself with logic that the people that I've helped far outweigh the 1, 2, or 3 people who've been triggered by my work. Well, I didn't really get it. And I think there's just a part of my mind that's been addicted to finding any reason to doubt my worth and my gifts. And so 20 years later, I was speaking at a Unity church, and I was telling this story to illustrate the ego's attachment to doubt and how doubt can block our ability to give what we're here to give. And as I'm telling the story about the birthday girl, a woman stood up in the congregation and said, "That was me. I was that girl. It was the best experience I had in my life. I'll never forget it." And so we had lunch afterwards, and it was just so healing for me to realize on a deep level that while people give feedback, and sometimes it can be helpful to receive constructive criticism, when people are so charged like that, they're triggered. They're not talking to me, they're talking about their history. And so I've learned the hard way and the long way that credit and blame smell the same. In other words, when I'm hungry for validation from people and I get compliments, I'm giving my power away just by feeding that hunger. When I am attracting blame and disapproval and criticism and I'm taking it personally, same thing. Looking outside myself to try to love myself or hate myself more, trying to collect evidence from the outside world of who I am. And that's why credit and blame smell the same. They're always more about the other person than about you. So I hope this story inspires you to write love letters to yourself, fan mail, appreciations, because the only way self-doubt heals is to bombard it with its opposite: self-trust, self-praise, encouragement, encouragement, encouragement. The word encouragement means to bring forth courage. So when you say encouraging things to yourself, when you become your own fan, your own cheerleader, you inspire courage, and you take more risks, and you make more mistakes, and you have more fun, and you learn more, and you grow more. When you say discouraging things to yourself, it removes you from your courage. So the moral of the story is just endless chatter, mind chatter. Make it positive. Don't try to let go completely of your mind. Your mind will rebel. It's like trying not to think of purple elephants. But what you can do with your power is to cultivate the habit of perpetual, endless cheerleading of yourself. Write those fan mail appreciation letters in your head. Speak it out loud while you're walking down the street. Everybody will think you're on your cell phone. It's a good thing. You can't get enough of it. It's just the medicine of life, and it'll help you give your gifts and believe in yourself. And that's what we're here to do.